what might seem quite a dry subject, which is standards, but we've already established that cost is clearly a driver of adoption, but standards are too. Depending on the industry that you may be operating in, standards may play a larger or smaller role, but the fact is that whether it's at the factory floor level or at the end user level, we all rely on standards to make sure that whatever it is that we have within our hands, or perhaps not in our hands, if it's something a little bit more virtual, actually works and delivers on its promise, it's fit for purpose, and we can use it safely. So could you, each of you, I'll call each of you individually, could you please give your perspective on perhaps some of the areas that are related to risk and to telecommunications and sensing, to specific areas in which you believe that European technology has perhaps an advantage over some others in relation to standards specifically? Rute, would you like to start, please?
In terms of what, so 6G to me, it implies that we have an interdisciplinary perspective, which is something that, so today we spoke about sensing and networking, network as a sensor, ISAC, etc. So these are fields that are indeed, in my opinion, extremely necessary. Jörg Widmer on the last panel also mentioned that in addition, so the sensing capabilities, they will come not just from cameras, so from very diverse devices that we have on the far edge. So this implies that we have sorts of some knowledge and some advantages here in terms of device-to-device communication, because these are aspects that have already been worked upon in Europe in different initiatives.
The reality about the European industry, it is that it comes from a leadership position in the early 2000 with the second generation. Then maintain a certain level of leadership in 4G, but in 5G, this leadership was taken by other geographies, but put much more investment on making it happen.
Had leadership before, we've lost it. We're now hopefully on track to gain it again, as Rute was saying now with 6G, but we need to address things like fragmentation. It's not a question of not having the skills or having industries that are capable of leading this. Maze, what's your view on this?
Hi, Tanya, everyone. Yeah, I agree with both Carlos and Rute. I think the point in Europe and the advantage that we have over other competitors is that the challenge of fragmentation is something we have to deal with. We don't have the monopolies that exist elsewhere. And provisioning 6G in Europe means that we will have to address the challenge of fragmentation and federation across multiple actors. And that puts us in Europe in the forefront to develop standards that are closer to being adopted globally.
Towards these the actions for the society, there is also like the driving the industrial and market appearing towards like the putting together data and towards like the creating applications that are generating these new society, and in order to have data putting together. The major thing is like to have these digital twin or metaverse in the sense of high fidelity replication of the society in the digital world. That means putting very high let's say requirements in terms of bandwidth, latency, and computation. And then, as has been said before by the other speakers here in the panel, also the interoperability of the data, so data modeling, and which I think European standards like ETSI are very on the forefront on this side in terms of the data modeling.
It does seem that there is a trend towards really establishing a framework, an operating framework in which data can be shared safely, securely, and obviously, while retaining your own ownership of that, which is absolutely critical for any industry. I just wanted to ask you all to perhaps just end with one phrase on what you would think would be a key ingredient for successful international collaboration on 6G standards. as a precondition for market take up.
To find the killing use case. I mean, like as 5G really worked on, let's say, connecting everything with Internet of Things. Now we have everything with automotive, smart home, and digital health. I think the next thing that that we should target is a new killing use case. In my opinion, would be the digital twin and metaverse. That is, we're setting the standards and we're setting the implementation approach, and then we also set already from now what the market will need to adopt and push for.
In my opinion, it's federation. That's the key ingredient that it will enable global interaction, and federation that allows for coexistence with minimum disclosure of knowledge and information, because without that, it's very hard for industries and different actors to actually collaborate with each other.
My view is open experimentation. So in order to allow the standards to evolve fast across continents, we need initiatives that provide us with open experimentation, allowing a strong cooperation between large industry and academia or research, as we do in Europe, but cross continents.
Making the level playing field for spectrum, I think, is key. So if the spectrum is prioritized, saying we are to work on these specific areas first, it's much likelier that that can speed up things on the deployment, because there are many different places in the spectrum where the 6G technologies are being positioned. So we cannot cover all of them at the same time.